Acoustic Alternatives from Grove Studios in Ypsilanti, the home of the podcast since the fall of 2020. They were the ones inviting me to do a podcast, and the reason, after losing a radio job, I got to still do the thing I love to do, which is talk to musicians about their career and expose people to music that they might not otherwise hear. And some of these folks are new to me. Some of them are old friends. This is Friends of Friends, and I'm excited to have them on. The Young Fables are here. Welcome.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
My total pleasure. Laurel Wright and West Lunsford are the band, and they probably, like me, have a Patreon page.
Yes.
I just started mine like a month ago, and I have had sponsorships briefly in the 62 episodes I've done. So there's been about 12 of them that have been sponsored, but the way that I can continue to do this is a professionally shot video, and you might know the difference when you're watching this one. I don't always do this because I can't afford to do this, and if you want to see more of these kinds of things, less than a cup of coffee a month, you can support me. I've got some special content planned for people who do that. I don't really talk about too much what it is because, well, there's a reason. But one of my next things I'm going to post, you guys really probably won't remember these, but back in the 60s and 70s, there was this guy, Dickie Goodman, who put together interviews, and the interviews were with people you knew, but the answers to the questions were songs. So he would use little snippets of songs. At 9 years old, I was doing like copies of these things, and I found them transferred digitally, and I'm going to post those as one of the like weird incentives people can get for joining my Patreon.
That's awesome.
So yeah, you'll hear me what I sound like at 9, 10, interviewing Ronald Reagan and an outfielder from the Detroit Tigers I'm sure you've never heard of. Some really weird stuff that is somewhat embarrassing but also kind of funny. So I'm sure you guys have cool stuff on yours, but we have plenty to talk about with the 3 albums that you've put out. Your description of your own music is modern traditional country music, and I guess I kind of hear country, but I don't really. I hear more Americana.
That's kind of an older thing that is on our website that we haven't taken off yet, I think.
It's also part of an interview, I think.
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot, but I think it is switching more Americana.
And I think it's not that we were and now we are not. I think it's just kind of like an evolving type of thing where it's like we say Amerikinda now. That's
Amerikinda.
You know?
I like that.
You like it? Amerikinda?
I think we should give people an example of what Amerikinda sounds like. What song would you like to start this session with?
Let's do Drive.
Okay. Cool. It's a new single from you.
Yes. So excited. So Wes wrote all the words to the song, and I wrote all the music to the song, which is very weird because Wes is the guitar player of the group. But 1, 2, 3. He slammed the door, I let him go. Should've done that years ago. Yeah, it's been a long time coming, of getting up each morning and feeling nothing. It feels right to let him know. It feels good to hit the road. I just wanna drive, leave it all behind. I don't care where I'm gonna go, long as I got 4 wheels and a radio. Ooh, can't see what I've been through, 'cause I ripped off the rear view. Finally feel alive. Damn, I just wanna drive. When he gets home, he'll probably call. See my phone in pieces down the hall. He could pour some bourbon in his glass, but it would only bring my memory back. Oh, but it feels right to leave him on his own. It feels good to hit the road. I just wanna drive, leave it all behind. I don't care where I'm gonna go, long as I got 4 wheels and a radio. Ooh, can't see what I've been through, 'cause I ripped off the rear view. Finally feel alive. Damn, I just wanna drive, leave it all behind. I don't care where I'm gonna go, long as I got four wheels and a radio. Ooh, can't see what I've been through. Oh, I ripped off the rear view. Finally feel alive. Damn, I just wanna drive. Damn, I just wanna drive.
Man, is that good? I really wish I still had a radio show right now because I would play that song to death. That is such a great tune. Forthcoming album.
Yeah, about to come out.
So excited. So
What's-
I need to tune this thing.
What's the release date of this new record?
September 1st.
Okay.
So it is real soon.
It might actually beat the timing of getting this podcast edited and put out. So it might be out by the time people hear this because we are recording this obviously in advance.
So go check it out.
Go
Please-
check it out.
Please do.
On all streaming platforms.
Can I give you a suggestion for when you perform it live and maybe you extend the ending?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you go to a concert, people like incorporate other songs into songs.
Mhm.
REM's Drive and the Cars Drive. If you just took like two
Medley.
lines from each song and see how many people pick up on it.
That's a good idea.
I think it'd
do
be
love
fun.
the medley.
Yes. Just like, steal like, who's gonna drive you home? I can't sing. We're not going to have me sing, but you get the point.
That's great. We should talk about that.
I love
We
that.
should talk about that in the car.
And the hour ride to the
Yeah.
next gig. All right. So we're at Grove Studios. Acoustic Alternatives is the podcast, and the duo is here, the Young Fables. I think if I remember reading correctly, you're both from the same town
Yeah.
originally.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Tell me about the town you grew up in.
So we're from East Tennessee. It's like 2.5 hours east of Nashville. Dollywood is kind of in that area. So we're from like the valley of the Smoky Mountains, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I was 19 and I was playing in this like cover band / throwing in some original songs, when I was a teenager. And I guess the day after I moved to Nashville, me and Wes had been playing together for kind of like a year at that point, and we met because I'm just like all over the place this morning. I'm sorry. I think my 3 hours of sleep is like really affecting me right now. This is
I got 5.
This is real life, Laurel.
Yeah. So we met because she had a band and her guitar player didn't show up to a show. So her drummer was a friend of mine who I'd played with for a long time. He calls me and says, "Hey man, can you fill in?" And I was like, "What's the songs?" Doesn't matter. Just come and play, And so I showed up, and that was the first gig we played together, and we played almost every day together since that day. And after about a year after we met, we moved to Nashville, or she wanted to move to Nashville, and I was like, "Hey, I'll tag along." And we became the Young Fables shortly after that, probably 6 months after that.
Oh my God, thank you so much for telling that story, because I just I was all around it, but it made
You're getting there.
but
It was just we
but
only
it
have
made
so much
no
time.
sense. What would I do without you, Wesley? Thank you.
Well, don't be sad, but I wasn't actually getting to that part of your story yet. But now that we've got that out of the way, let's back up. Let's back up to when you were a kid. Like the city you grew up in is not called East Tennessee, is it?
No. Oh, that's
Maryville,
the
Maryville,
the
Tennessee.
actual
Oh my gosh,
city.
we totally didn't even answer the question. We need to pay more
Maryville,
attention.
Tennessee.
Yes.
That's why we didn't do good in school.
Yeah, we didn't do good. Well, you did great in school. I did not do good in school. Okay. Yeah, Maryville. It's a small town like outside of Knoxville.
Okay.
So, yeah.
A farming community, or what do they do there? What did you guys do there? Separately, because you
Not
didn't know
much.
each other.
I didn't do
Yeah,
much.
just play guitar. That's about it. But it's sort of the big thing is Denso and Alcoa aluminum is like right there. So that's sort of the main industry of Maryville in that area.
And we kind of have like the Oak Ridge thing going on.
Yeah. So there's a lot of the East Tennessee, Knoxville, Maryville has a lot of great musicians. It's sort of like a hidden gem. It's like a great scene of all kinds: jazz scene, rock scene, country, everything.
Nice. Okay. Well, I've never been, so
Need to go.
Yeah.
We do. There's a big festival called Big Ears, which I've never seen another festival there or like that before. And it's
I'm self-conscious all of a sudden.
but it's only like avant-garde music, and it's like 4 days long. So that tells you that the scene is pretty,
Yes.
diverse.
For sure. Well, individually, Laurel, it appears from the documentary that we're going to talk about in a little bit that you've been recording music yourself since you were, I don't know how, very little.
Little.
Very little. Did you ever want to do anything else when you were a kid?
Not really.
There was never any other like.
Like, I really don't. I'm not the girl with a backup plan. So if this doesn't work out, I'm just unsure about just everything in life. You know what I mean?
Go back to school? Question mark?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe be a tour manager for somebody.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean,
don't
you've
wanna
got
do
enough
that,
experience, but
yeah, I could handle some things on the road, I think.
Yeah.
well, I'm guessing also from some older videos I watched, or I'm watching the documentary too. That, and this seems weird because it doesn't seem like she's been around long enough to say this, but has Taylor Swift been an influence on you? You covered her young.
I mean, she's kind of the reason why, like, I think she gave me the courage to pick up a guitar at a young age. Because I felt like, I was 10 at the time, and I loved the way that she expressed herself, like, through song. And I don't know. She was an inspiration for many, many girls still.
She's done all right too.
Yeah. So
I mean, $1 billion tour or whatever it's going to end up being.
She definitely, like, impacted me for sure in lots of different ways. So
I guess I just hadn't really thought about the fact that she's been around long enough to do that and have people in front of me that have been listening to her for 15 years or whatever, and then they play music now too. I mean, I totally respect what she's doing. It just seems weird because she's still so current.
yeah,
Usually, like, the influences are bands that are no longer together or whatever.
yeah,
That's a
totally.
good point. I never thought of that.
That's why it's striking me as like a little like, wow, really? Okay,
She's
okay,
still as current as ever.
maybe more so.
Yeah, true.
I don't think she could have pulled off this tour 10 years ago.
True. Yeah, good point.
So there you go.
I feel like Taylor Swift made being an artist more accessible for a lot of people.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, or gave them the courage to, like, or the guts to just kind of pick up a guitar and just, like, do a little something, She was just so, like, gentle about it all, I felt like, when she first started. So, anyways, love her.
I see there was also a bit of church music in your influences. So
Yeah.
which one weighed more heavily on how you perform today? Is it the Taylor side or the performing in church, or did you actually perform in church?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I grew up, like, in an old Baptist church, and I was just singing, like, hymns and stuff like that, and then learned some contemporary Christian, and then I learned some, like, I've always been into Shania Twain and Dixie Chicks and stuff like that. But yeah, church was, I don't know what I sound more like. Maybe a mixture of both.
Well,
Depends on what
you
song I'm
hit
singing.
topics. You hit both. I mean, I'm hearing both in what you're singing about. So that's kind of why I brought it up. I
Yeah.
guess to see which one is the stronger
Yeah, I
part
don't
of your
know.
personality.
I guess it depends on the day.
Was Taylor the reason you picked up a guitar?
Yeah,
Really?
but not the reason why I sang.
No.
So
But-
yeah, so both.
Well, there you go.
Look at you digging deep.
That's what I do.
Love it.
But you wrote your first song at 10, so that's kind of like a fascinating thing as well.
Yeah.
You co-wrote it with your mom.
With my mom,
Yeah.
yeah. So I just had a lot of, like, emotions about so her grandfather died, so my great-grandfather, and I just didn't quite understand the whole, like, death thing, obviously, at 10 years old. So we wrote a song, and it made me feel better, and I think that's when I was hooked.
Very good. The super early recordings that exist, there was a picture of that, I think, in the video as well, like some CD that you'd burned of yourself. What do those sound like? Like, is there a comparison for those, and what kind of things were you singing about at that point?
Like, I remember one line was like, have you ever been in love like this? Have you ever wanted that first kiss? Have you ever
Love it. Let's
wanted
do
the
that
boy
one
in the
next.
magazine? Something like that. I remember those words.
Sounds like a teenage song.
So that was, like, the thing. And it was an A. So it was a little, have you ever? Okay, yeah.
Well, you also briefly did American Idol. Were you there for a couple of weeks, months?
Yeah, I did American Idol 3 times, actually.
Oh, really?
So I don't know if that is, like, I don't know if I'm bragging or if that's, like, weird to do
It's
3
either
times.
third time's a charm or three strikes you're out. You never know.
That's what happened for me. So I did it when I was, I think, 16, 18, and 19. And I think the last time I did it, I made top 48. So I made it the furthest that time. I got cut, like, right before the live rounds. And yeah, I spent probably in all maybe a few months in LA kind of doing that on and off.
And then between that time and the time of the first release, how many years passed? Between the time you
First Fables.
the first Young Fables record as a duo and the last appearance of Idol, because the reason I ask is if they heard you now, they would be like, "Ah, damn, we really missed out on one."
You think?
Yeah, I think so.
It's funny you say that. I don't think anybody's ever asked that question. But when she went the last time, she just turned 19, and that was when we started talking about doing a duo. And she was like, should I go do this American Idol thing because it's still solo? And we had not even officially released or whatever. But our friend, now manager Patryk, he was like, you should go, and then we'll launch the Young Fables and try and capture that audience, you know. And so he's really smart. So we did that.
He is pretty.
So it was like probably a year or less than a year that we had the record after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious.
Yeah.
Well, Wes, what were you doing at 10? Writing songs as well?
I was playing with Legos. No.
Legos and G.I. Joes?
Yeah, exactly. Ninja Turtles, yeah. No, I played guitar probably since I was like 13 or 14 or something. And I was like, you know, like rock and roll, Pink Floyd. Those were my bands. I loved the Beatles. And then when I turned 18, I got really into jazz. And so I did that for years and years. I went over to China for a while and played over there.
Really?
And doing just like this jazz R&B clubs and stuff. And while I was over there, a friend of mine sent me a video of Glenn Campbell playing, I think it was Galveston Live, and he takes this extended guitar solo at the end.
He's a great guitar player.
And I was like, it blew me away. I was like, I didn't know country music was like this. And so I just started listening to country. And then, so I was, when my contract ran out in China, they asked if I wanted to do a year more. And I was like, well, I think I'm going to go back to Tennessee and see if I can play country, you know. And then almost as soon as I got back, I met Laurel.
There's a pretty girl waiting for me, you should have said.
Well, I didn't know it at the time.
Well, you knew it. You just didn't know it.
Wes and I mean, we weren't into each other until like a good ways in.
Yeah, probably a year and a half.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, convenience.
So, can you give me just a little sample of the tasty jazz licks you used to play? Because I do like jazz a lot. Actually, my current station that I work for, although not on the air, is a jazz and blues station. So,
Oh, really?
what kind of jazz did you play? Let's find out.
Well, we did a lot of modern jazz and stuff, but me and Laurel sometimes play like, standards. Give him a sample.
We can't do a full cover because of the.
Like a little like 2 lines.
Cool. Good stuff. That's the standards then.
Yeah.
So you weren't like trying to be George Benson or Larry
Well,
Carlton.
he is my favorite guitar
Really?
player. But yes. But we did everything. We did like Chick Corea. We did a lot of modern stuff, Gregory Porter. And,
Cool.
You know, it was fun.
Very cool. I'm curious how that comes forward. That's really nice. Chet Atkins seems like that might be a good.
He was that's like one of the reasons I play Gretsch is because he's sort of a connecting line. There's a lot of connecting lines between jazz and country, like Hank Garland and Chet and Les Paul.
Yeah.
People.
Well, cool. Did you start writing songs at any young point? Did you wait till you met Laurel?
Well, it's funny because like when I was young in like rock bands, I wrote all the songs, and like I was that angsty singer songwriter dude. And then I got into jazz. I just played guitar for years and years. I was just like only care about guitar. Wanted to play like George Benson. Wanted to be John Scofield, Pat Metheny. And then when I came back and met Laurel, she would bring songs over to me and say like, "What do you think of this song?" And she like really cared about my opinion. So we started writing songs together. So if I had never met Laurel, I probably would not write songs because I would still just play guitar all the time.
Yeah, play covers.
But yeah, and so that sort of brought it back to my forefront, I think.
I hope this is a happier choice.
Yeah, totally. It's a very creative, outlet, I think.
Very good.
Well said, Wes.
Did you have any, like I asked Laurel, any dreams of anything else besides music when you were a kid? Like I want to be an astronaut or I want to make pizzas or I don't know.
Not really. I mean, like it's funny. One of my early memories is my mom got me this book in the front of it. It's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I don't even know, 5 or something. And I said like opera singer or something. So it's like I didn't even know what really it was involved being a musician. I just wanted to do it, I think. I was obsessed. Like my first thing I listened to was like Bob Dylan and the Beatles, and ever since then it's been that.
Well, I'm glad you guys found each other. The first album is this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was anybody besides me confused? The first album is called Two.
Yes.
That should be the second album.
We didn't know there was going to be a second one.
Yeah,
Well,
we just thought it might be the one. So
It's Two. Two is the first album. Don't be confused.
There's 2 of us?
Yes, I got that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I picked up on it, but it was like two.
takes a second.
Takes a
Yeah.
second.
We're really meta. We're like real deep here.
I sadly, until Patryk, your manager, and our mutual friends sent me the CDs to review for this session, hadn't really heard your music much. But I'm so glad he sent me all 3 CDs because they're so good. Each of them has like a lot of songs. Again, if I was still doing a radio show, especially at the college level, I usually mark which songs I would play on the radio, and it's basically like 90% of the album I would play, and all three of them actually.
Thank you.
This one, I think the one I would play the most is September. That's just a really, really great song. So first album is called Two, if you're looking for information about a band who's been putting out records for a while. Then we get on to old songs, which I'll grab that one, put that in front of the camera. Half is Good, great song for me as well. And of course, Daddy's Girl, which just kind of leads us to a big part of the conversation, but I think it might be best if we play this song, which was co-written by Dean Fields and your manager, Patryk. And then we'll talk about how it fits into a big picture, quote unquote. Ha ha ha.
One, two, 1, 2. Mama said when I was one day old, the whole world changed for him, and he never drove that slow. I left on Cabot Drive, 5th house on the right. He took me in his arms and I was home. He gave me the best years of my life. I must have took a few from him, 'cause I was not an easy child. I made mistakes, made them again. It never changed a thing for him, 'cause he knows who I am, and I'm not sure if I'm anything in the world. I'm Daddy's girl. I can't stand cigarettes and I hate the cold, but I'm freezing on the front porch, 'cause that's where Daddy smokes. That's where he was waiting up when my curfew'd come and gone. A little angry, mainly happy I was home. He gave me the best years of my life. I must have took a few from him, 'cause I was not an easy child. I made mistakes, made them again. It never changed a thing for him, 'cause he knows who I am, and I'm not sure if I'm anything in the world. I'm Daddy's girl. Daddy's girls tell him everything. Daddy's girls can ask for anything. Daddy's girl makes him cry every time she sings. He gave me the best years of my life. I must have took a few from him, 'cause I was not an easy child. I made mistakes, made them again. It never changed a thing for him, 'cause he knows who I am, and I'm not sure if I'm anything in the world. I'm Daddy's girl. If I'm anything in the world, I'm Daddy's girl.
What a great song.
Thank you.
Man. We'll get into how that might be hard for anyone to sing in just a second. And I have to do this weird spot to throw in the business stuff, but I'm going to throw the business stuff in to give you a chance to gather your thoughts for that. Grove Studios, where we're at, is really generous with making sure that my stuff is seen and heard, and they're very generous about making sure that I've got a space to do this podcast. And if you've been watching it or listening to it, especially watching it, you're seeing a different room for the first time. This is one of the 5 rooms in this building, And this is a spot for bands that can come and practice. You can't see it, I don't think, on the camera, but there's a drum set right in front of us that you could bang away at. And your neighbors wouldn't hear you because you're somewhere near a train track instead in an industrial park. And it's like a great spot to make a ton of noise and not worry about disturbing your neighbors. And again, there's 5 rooms. 2 of them are meant for bands. There's one for DJs. There's a podcast studio, which we're normally in. And there's one for basically like playing your mix of your album, and you can blast it as loud as you want. So it's a really cool place. Just look up Grove Studios, Ypsilanti. You'll find out where it is. And thank you to them for being great sponsors. And thank you for playing that song. And I don't know, I mean, you must play it every night anyway, but it must be a bit hard to play, given this movie that we learn more about the song's birth and meaning and everything about it.
I was thinking about that while I was playing the song, how some days it's easier, some days it's harder, some days it doesn't affect me. Some days it's just, I don't know, I think it depends on the day. And I was talking with a friend. I went and saw a show in Nashville a couple of nights ago this week with some of my friends at 3rd and Lindsley. And I was talking with one of my friends about how when an artist is like performing a song, if you're like really in tune and like paying attention to the performance and you're there for the right reasons, you can kind of like see what kind of headspace they're in, whether it be that day or that period of their life or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
And so today, like I'm saying all this today, I definitely felt like a little, like probably shaky singing it for whatever reason, probably because lack of sleep and I'm tired. But and that kind of affects me when I'm doing emotional things. But yeah, so it depends on the day.
Depends on the day.
Yeah.
And the movie, which a documentary, I guess technically, right? I've had the pleasure of seeing. It's not really out yet, though, right? Is there a time that I can say, hey, you remember seeing the Young Fables on the podcast or hearing them? You should go find the movie now. It's out. Do you know when it's coming?
Well, we can't say anything official, but it is in the works. So it will be sooner than later. It's weird because we come from music, so we don't know anything about film, but it's so slow. Like the film world is so slow. But there's things happening. So hopefully soon.
It has already won the Nashville Film Festival Audience Choice Award, which is pretty cool for something that's not out.
Yeah.
Seems a little confusing, but it also, for those who haven't seen it and will see it eventually, it's a masterclass in storytelling. It's such a great way to tell why the song was written, how the song was written, like just following the whole thing all the way through.
Oh, though it's not out on like streaming, it's on our Patreon.
Yes,
so
that's on our Patreon.
Our Patreon's very new for us too, so I'm trying to remember to like
probably the same time, about a month or last a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it is out.
So technically, people could, if they find you on Patreon, see what I'm talking about. Tell me about the process, if you can, either of you.
About like the filmmaking, like
Yes.
how we started it.
Yeah, how it started. That's always crazy.
Maybe you lead a little.
I'll
bit
start.
with it.
Okay, so like
My
we didn't.
storytelling's not been good today.
I'll let you.
Yeah.
Pick
Do you
it
have
up.
any
I'll step in a
caffeine?
little bit.
Did you have caffeine? I don't know. Yes, you did. Okay.
I did.
So it started. It was so weird because Patryk, he calls us right before we're supposed to write with Dean, who helped us write Daddy's Girl, and we've written a bunch of songs with him. He's written songs for like Garth Brooks and people like that. He's amazing. And he was coming over, and Patryk calls us and says, "Hey, would you mind me filming your song right today?" And we're like, "That's weird. Like that would be awkward, you know." And but we're like, "Okay, whatever." Call Dean, make sure it's cool with him. He was the same. It's weird and awkward. And so the whole idea was to just have here's how we came from nothing into a song, you know, like 10 minutes, something like that, like video. But the song we wrote was the song we just played, Daddy's Girl. And we were like, wow, this is, because we write a lot of songs, and some songs you should never hear ever because they're terrible, you know. But we were like, this is a cool song. Maybe we keep on recording and sort of see the whole process through. But then I'll let Laurel take it from here, I guess.
Yeah, so we were just going to make our YouTube video, you know, and then I always say that I think maybe the creator, God, whoever, had different plans for my life. And so January 5th, my sister died in a car accident. She was 19, only sibling I had, and she was a daddy's girl. So the song was very cool because everything in it was completely true down to the street that I lived on, you know, growing up. And so it was special for both of us. And so my dad, we decided not to play it for him just because it did not seem like the right time. And then he heard it a little bit before he passed away. But my dad passed away 8 months after my sister died. He was like 51. I mean, we think broken heart. They say heart attack. But it was pretty crazy. And it ended up being just like basically a film about songwriting, the songwriting process, like what goes on behind the scenes. It tracks the whole thing from beginning to end, like whenever we're in the studio, like I'm sitting on my dad's lap, he's hearing it for the first time. It's really special, and it's kind of wild. It's seems like a weird thing to be proud of, but I mean, I feel like music is something that I'm supposed to be doing, but I really think the driver is like sharing my story. It's such a weird one. We have it on film. I don't know. You kind of think about, situations or circumstances or whatever you want to call it, and you're like, that's not a coincidence. And I think that I'm supposed to be talking about it for whatever reason. And it's played a big, big part in my healing process, and which I'm still on in a lot of therapy. But yeah, so now our documentary is about like all kinds of different things. It touches on like anxiety, depression, and how songs can change over time. When we wrote the song, had my sister, I had my dad, still have my mom, but that song meant something else. And then when my sister passed away, it meant something else. The song changed. And then when my dad passed away, it changed again. So it's a pretty powerful, it's not an easy watch, but I think it's an important one.
I was going to say it was heartbreaking to watch, but also you didn't want to stop watching. You wanted to continue the story and get, feel what you were feeling. And
Patryk and Andy, like they did such a great job. Like,
they did.
Taking it and like kind of like telling my story without me having to like relive a lot of things. Like they were really sensitive to that, and I really appreciate that.
I saw in the film, I'm not quite sure to say why she's in the film, seems weird, but Georgia Middleman, who did some songs with one of the Michigan bands. We were talking Michigan bands, but the Accidentals, we lost the Accidentals to you guys. She has written a song with them, and I met her when they did a gig where you're playing tonight, actually. That's so cool. Just like, oh, what is she doing there? I'm not quite sure how she fits into the story, but I was like, I just met her.
Are you going to come tonight?
We'll talk about that after we get off the air.
Okay,
after we stop recording. I want to, but there's a reason I can't.
She wanted to catch you on it. She was going to catch you on
I want to. So people don't often hear songs the way they're intended. So has anybody said, oh, I love that song, I used that for my wedding?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Actually, I just had a friend come up to me, and she was like, oh, I forgot to tell you, use Daddy's Girl as my first dance. Like, that's a lot of people. But I love it because that song is not a sad song. I mean, it obviously triggers me in a weird way because it's my personal story, and it's about my like dead dad. But I don't know. I think it's special that everyone can get something different out of it, and I think that's what music and life is all about.
Well, I've been a wedding DJ since 1985/7, and as of yet, it hasn't been used, but I can always throw it on the list of when people are looking for songs for the daddy-daughter dance, because they go, I don't know, what song should I play? And so sometimes I just give them a list. I'm going to have to add that.
Yeah, get us in there.
Add it in there.
So this is the album it's on, those who are watching. It is the second album, which also includes a rather sad one called Your Kind of Company, which you wrote about your sister as well. So not that you only write sad songs, but those seem to be the ones that I think we all react to sad songs. Mm-hmm. I mean, one of the biggest selling albums of the last decade was Adele's 21, right? How many of those songs are happy? Zero, right?
True.
So,
but they were all real.
They were all real, right? So, I mean, that's the thing that you can look at when you're writing a song. Your bio says you're strong advocates for mental health awareness, and I imagine that probably came out from, I don't know, because you're going to answer this question, because of the situation you just described, going through the loss of both your sister and your father within such a short period of time. Mm-hmm. I've been battling a depression of some sort since I was a teenager, so I don't know if this was a trigger for you or it was always there, or is that why you?
I think me too. I think I've always kind of dealt with it, it's both sides of my family for sure. And then, but it didn't click with me. Like you don't really pay attention to those types of things. Well, I didn't until something happened to me. So I felt like when I lost my sister and my dad, it kind of crippled me a little bit. And it kind of like, how do I say this? I'm glad we're editing this.
It slowed your processes down, I'm sure. Like everything you were doing was probably just like come to a screeching halt.
Like when they passed away. Oh yeah. Here's what I was gonna say. Oh my God, the train is back. Okay, but I think losing them as sad and morbid as it sounds, it's allowed me to tap into, I've always been able to be like, being vulnerable is a little bit easier for me than maybe some people.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoy doing it. So tapping into that for the right reasons and using it like in combination with my gift, I guess, has been like the most rewarding thing I think I can think of.
What are you guys doing as a duo to bring awareness? Is there like special concerts or just volunteering your time somewhere?
I mean, we've done a lot of like nonprofit things. We continue to do that. I mean, I'm always online, kind of like being honest about my like day-to-day life on socials, like brutally honest about, you know, whatever I'm feeling that day. And I don't know, just any way that we can. We're advocates. Like, I think that it should be talked about more, and I think that we should have more people like, yeah, that should be an important thing for everyone. And I just feel like it's not. So if there's anything that I can do to help like strengthen that, I guess, noise, I would love to do that.
Have you ever done anything like a Zoom call with your fans that might be going through the same thing? I'm just thinking of ideas that might.
Oh my gosh, we should have a
great
weekly
idea,
meeting,
actually.
and we're gonna bounce ideas off of you.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Because it is crazy. Like, well, Laurel is very open with, the people who come to our shows and stuff. But we've done this thing called the Screenplay Tour, which is where we play the movie and we play a short concert.
Oh, okay.
And, man, like, I've never seen people come up after something like that. Like, it's just like lines of people who just feel like they connect to something, because everybody has a tragedy of some sort,
Sure.
And it's like just to see people like see her story and also like reflect on it and be like, this is my story too. I need to be able to. And so they'll, come and talk to us for everybody. I remember one specifically, I think everyone in the theater came up and talked to us afterwards and told us their story and like sort of let it out. And it was really cool. I mean,
it was almost like therapy, which I just feel like after that, something like that happens, they're like, thank you for sharing. And I'm like, thanks for caring.
Right.
Thanks for being here and then sharing your story. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's not about sharing my story and it's all about me and my tragedy is so much worse than your tragedy. It's just, this is like the platform I've been given and I love using it for like those reasons, I guess. Because I don't want to feel alone either.
No. And I'm sure similar to me, music is your passion, and it's been my passion for so long. But I have to say probably since the pandemic, I've interpreted lyrics differently than I used to, and it actually has really awoken noticing that I'm not alone in certain things. Like when I hear somebody else singing about something I've gone through, maybe it didn't hit me 5 years ago, but 3 years ago it started hitting me like, oh, so Louis Capaldi has been through something like that I have too, whatever. Just the feelings are a bit different. So what you're doing as singers and songwriters is making us feel less alone in our feelings. Like we know somebody else has gone through what we're going through if they've heard your song and they connected with it in that way. So Thank you for that. And thank you for that.
Thank you for like allowing me to talk about it on here.
Of course.
Means a lot.
So 3 albums in, a 4th one coming. We're going to do 4 songs today. I think it's a good time to do a 3rd song. I don't know what you want to do though. You
want to do one off Pages just as we?
Yeah, we're going to get to Pages.
Might as well.
We're headed towards Pages.
Do we wait?
Yes.
Okay.
So we can do house.
Okay, we'll do it last then. We'll do a new one now.
I have a plan.
You got a plan. I'm messing up your plan. Here we go.
So this is a song so therapy has been going on a lot the past few years, and they keep saying I'm getting better and stuff, and I think that sometimes I've just gotten good at hurting. So this goes along with, I'm not the only person that's felt like this, so. Been one hell of a road, but I'm getting used to how it feels. Learning to start seeing through all the dust on the windshield. Living day to day, never really knowing if it's something that I'm going through or going through the motions. Don't know if I'm better now, if I'm on my way out, or if I'm just good at hurting, if I'm just good at hurting. Don't know if I'll be okay, if I found my way, or if I'm just good at hurting, if I'm just good at hurting. I know
feel like a fixer-upper. They never got around to fixing up. The paint is peeling, floors uneven, but I just got used to all that stuff. It makes me wonder, don't know if I'm better now, if I'm on my way out, or if I'm just good at hurting, if I'm just good at hurting. Don't know if I'll be okay, if I found my way, or if I'm just good at hurting, if I'm just good at hurting. Living day to day, I'm never really knowing if it's something that I'm going through or going through the motions. Don't know if I'm better now, if I'm on my way out, or if I'm just good at hurting, if I'm just good at hurting. Don't know if I'll be okay, if I found my way, or if I'm just good at hurting, if I'm just good at hurting. I know it looks like I'm doing fine. That might be, or maybe I'm just good at hurting. I'm just good.
Laurel Wright and Wes Lunsford are the Young Fables, and they're here on Acoustic Alternatives. That one is, it's not on here, is that? No, that's brand new.
Brand new.
We were talking about pages for a second, and then you went and threw a curveball at me.
We did.
Just good at hurting,
We're
I'm
good.
guessing.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. I just want to
My
make sure.
plane
I'm like,
wasn't a good plane.
wait a minute. I don't know
I saw
that
you
song.
looking over there.
We haven't had a set list in 10 years.
I don't mind. I was
I
prepared
know.
to pull
That's
out-
not from Pages, sorry. But this next one.
Well, we're going to get one more in. Well, this album is also similar to the other two. Fantastic. A lot of songs, again, that I would choose to play on a radio station if I had the privilege to do that anymore. Thanks, pandemic, for taking my job away. So it's got some co-writes, like all of your other records. Liz Longley is one of your co-writers.
Yes.
Got the shirt on. Mindy Smith, favorite of mine. It's apparently a favorite of yours as well. Do you have a preference for writing as a duo, or do you prefer to write with other people like Mindy and Liz and all the other folks you've written with? Or is it just, this is what happens and we get songs and we get songs?
Yes.
Yeah. I think
That.
that's it. Yeah.
That. Yeah.
Because we write always the two of us, but sometimes it's nice to get another person. You know, it just gets the juices flowing a little more. You know?
Is it fun or is it work?
Depends on the day.
Depends
It's
on the
mostly-
person. No,
yeah, it depends on.
Well, do you like assign yourself a day that you're going to write, or does it just, it happens when it happens?
when we co-write with other people, like when
Well,
there's
that
more
clearly.
than just two of us.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
it's
scheduled.
Try to, keep up the practice. And then, but we're always writing, I feel like.
Yeah.
I've been
Well,
trying to do this thing lately where I write one song a day, whether that be like a verse and a chorus or just something I make up in my head or whatever, just to practice. But it's hard to write songs and stay
yeah, it
creative.
is.
That's why you carry your phone around and sing into it, right?
Basically, yeah. 1,000 voice memos.
Whatever works, right? Well, as long as you don't lose your phone.
Yeah, as long as you don't lose the phone.
So you've done both ends of the performing spectrum too. You've done festivals, I think, and you've also done listening rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Which do you prefer? Is there a preference?
I don't think there's a preference. It's just whoever wants to listen, you know. We've had great audiences at both. We've had, it's been great.
Yeah, I guess it just depends. Like for me, it's not about size or anything like that. I guess it's more about feel and if everybody's getting something out of it and if we all feel good afterwards. I think those are the best shows.
House concerts? Have you done house
Oh,
concerts?
Love house concerts.
Those are really the best connections,
We're
I
doing
think.
one on tomorrow.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go.
And those are cool too because, like, you can meet everyone in the room,
Right.
which is rare.
And they are a captive audience.
Yes.
Mhm.
And it's like they sort of, even if they don't know who you are, they're friends with somebody and they brought them, and then hopefully they like you. So you're getting a lot of people who want to hear you otherwise.
Right. Well, I mean, the movie, I mean, we kind of glazed over this a little bit, but it's the power of that movie and the power of the songs is it helps us heal. It helps us cry. I mean, I wanted to hug you after watching the movie, which I haven't done yet.
We can hug after.
Yeah, okay. But I mean, that's what music does for us as listeners. And I know you guys obviously are listeners too, not just performers. So it's such an important part of life is to have these emotions. And you guys do such a great job of making us feel. That's the whole point of that.
Thank you.
What do you like to do when you're not making music? Is there a hobby that you have that you're on, not on the road? Okay, we're home for a month. What are we going to do? What do you like to do?
Well, we have a cat named Mark.
Oh.
And we love our cat so much.
Yes.
We're those people. And we like to hike. I mean, not like anything intense,
No, look
but
at me. I'm not intense.
That's like our quality time together. So that's kind of like what we do. Hike, take long walks, adventure. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're kind of lame.
I read a lot of comic books. I play a lot of board games.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing board games in one of the interviews I saw.
Lots of those.
What's your favorite?
It depends. Like if it's just like a light something like Splendor, that's a fun game. Yeah.
Does Laurel play?
She will play.
Mm-hmm. I'm not
Sometimes.
as big of a gamer as Wes, but I'll still play though.
Do you invite friends over and like do card games and stuff too?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, we do that.
You're normal.
Cool.
You're normal people
Yeah,
though.
we're cool.
We play board games. We're cool.
It's hard to as you're getting going in a music career, and you guys have got pretty good momentum at this point. I feel like. Do you have a level that you're trying to get to? Like I want to be as big as X, not the band X because they broke up, I think.
But I love them.
Yeah, but but do you think in those terms? Are you just kind of on the ride and let's see where it goes, or do you like I want to be next year? I want to make sure we're playing consistently 400 seat rooms, and then after that I want to play 1,000-seat rooms. I have no idea. I'm asking the question in a is there a plan? Or
I don't have to. I mean, I feel like I want it all.
Okay, you
Yeah.
should.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
but I kind of feel bad for saying it. I mean,
you gotta say it on film.
yeah,
so
you got to
that
say it. It's
everybody
called
knows, you know?
manifesting. I
Yeah,
just learned about
manifesting.
it,
There you go.
so that's why I said it.
But I think like we always sort of tried to go wherever it leads us. I mean, that's why we have a documentary. Like we would never have done that,
Yeah.
So
But it might open really big doors.
right, or it's
if
just
it
like
works out.
it just happens. It's like everything. I think you just follow where it leads you, and hopefully that's the right way.
Yeah,
Seems to be working so far.
we want to play to lots of people, of course.
I think you should be. There should be more people seeing your music and hearing your music. Hopefully this helps a little bit too. Bring you
Helps a lot.
more fans is better for me too. I hope that it works for you. On the Pages record, I noticed recently on your YouTube channel, you're doing some like stories about the songs videos, which if I remember correctly, they're only posted in the last couple of weeks. Yet there's a new album coming out. So are we going to do that for that record too? Talk about the songs?
Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we usually do that.
It just took a little bit for this one to get it recorded.
Well, we recorded those a long time ago. I just reposted them. I'm in charge of the socials, so they're kind of all over the
Oh.
place.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. That's not Patryk's fault. He does his job.
Wasn't dissing Patryk. I did notice Wes's comments on Buried Me Too, quoting the lyric, I'm a ghost tossing in the sheets. Ooh.
What did I say? I don't even remember.
Just that it was a great lyric.
Oh yeah, I do love that lyric.
Yeah.
I love Ghost.
I got to agree.
Yeah, it's cool. I forget, was it you came up or Liz maybe?
Yeah, I feel like that was probably like a Liz.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I
It
think
sounds
so.
like a Liz thing. I'm gonna give that one to her.
You don't remember?
No,
Yeah.
I always
don't-
forget that kind of stuff.
I was talking to my friend Jen Aiden. She wrote Blake Shelton's "She Wouldn't Be Gone." Just went like platinum. So proud of her. But I was talking to her the other day about. I was like, "Do you remember what you did specifically, like when you write songs, or who did the most writing?" I just feel like I don't remember that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm not that kind of writer because I usually don't do anything. So
That's not true.
I noticed on the YouTube page there's also a video of you guys singing with Delta Ray, which is cool. Big fan of them as well.
Oh,
love
they're
them.
awesome.
Brittany just married somebody originally from the Michigan music scene. I don't know where he lives anymore because I lost track of him. But yeah, I was looking him up for some reason. I'm like, he just married, what?
They're so talented
Small
and
world.
great people.
Yeah, I met them on the first album tour. They played the radio station that I used to work at, and there's a big signature on the wall there that they did the logo.
That's
It's really
cool.
yeah. I got on the floor and got real low. So yeah, got to see them on the Cayamo cruise as well.
Ooh.
Which the one time I got to go, that's a whole nother story. But
That's
anyway.
a goal. That's a goal for us for sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
We
I'm
want-
just gonna go ahead and say it.
Okay, good.
Cruise.
Manifest.
Mm-hmm.
Manifest.
Where is the best spot we can find out about the new record? Is there Patreon or the webpage?
Patreon.com/The Young Fables, and then our website, theyoungfables.com.
And the new record has got a release date of
We're working on that.
just a single coming out
Yeah.
that we heard
We're
earlier.
gonna do singles
Okay.
and then have an EP and then have an EP. You know what I mean?
Do you giving up on the album concept?
I don't
We're
know.
still gonna have project concept. It just might not be as long. Or maybe it
Because
might.
instead of like going in and recording like 10, 11 songs, what we're doing is recording as we write. And we're just doing, and so I don't know if it'll be a full record or an EP, or it's just whenever we feel like it's done. Maybe it'll be a double record.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I would like to hear one more song if you've got it in you.
Okay. How about the song we wrote with Mindy Smith? And I just saw her play the other night at Third Lindsley. That's what I was watching.
Really?
Don't look down, look straight ahead. Trouble gives you trouble and a crick in the neck. Redemption is a promise. If you ain't found it yet, it's not a question of whether, it's a question of when. Everybody's bleeding, everybody's hurting. Every lamb is lost, every soul is searching. If love is what you're looking for, splitting in the house of the Lord. Ooh. Water rising higher on the tip of your toes. Yeah, grasping at the thread, don't even notice the road. Forgotten and forsaken, but you got it wrong. Child, you're only waiting. It's all here for the taking. Everybody's bleeding, everybody's hurting. Oh, every limb is lost, every soul is searching. If love is what you're looking for, splitting in the house of the Lord. You don't even have to knock on the door. Come on in to the house of the Lord. Hey. Yeah, let's- Oh, everybody's bleeding, everybody's hurting. Oh, every leg is lost, every soul is searching. If love is what you're looking for, joy is what you're looking for, peace is what you're looking for, splitting in the house of the Lord. The house of the Lord. If love is what you're looking for, if love is what you're looking for, joy is what you're looking for, peace is what you're looking for, splitting in the house of the Lord.
I had to have the ending.
Love it. House of the Lord, one of the songs from the latest album, up to this point anyway. The album is called Pages, The Young Fables. My guest today on Acoustic Alternatives. And what an absolute pleasure to spend time with both of you today and learn more about you.
Well, thanks so much for having us. It's really been a treat.
It's
Thank
been
you.
a treat for
We're
me.
honored.
It's I can't say enough about the three albums I've heard so far. If you get a chance to see them live, do it. I'm going to unfortunately miss the one that's tonight, which isn't going to be in the past once people hear and see this, but this has been a treat. So theyoungfables.com, right? Simple as that.
That's it.
And from there, I'm sure it's easy to find a link to the Patreon page as well. Support independent musicians like this. This is where music lives, right? This is eventually it can grow into you don't get to see them at house concerts anymore and listening rooms anymore. So see them while you can and support them while they're out there.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure to have you here. Acoustic Alternatives, thanks again, Grove Studios, for making this my home for about 90% of the podcasts I've done. Every now and then I do it in somebody's house, which has happened a few times too. But they've been great. Look them up, Grove Studios, Ypsilanti, if you're looking for a place to practice your band or do a podcast or your DJ skills, whatever it is you need to make more noise than you're able to do in your house. And if you're interested in supporting me on Patreon, it's the John Bommarito. Go to johnbommarito.com. There's a link at the bottom of the Acoustic Alternatives page. Very easy to do. And we'll be back with another episode soon, talking to another duo, which might be as challenging as this to pull off. So we'll see what happens. Thanks, guys.